All right, everybody, it is 10 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. A couple things real quick. We have a couple commissioners that are joining us via interactive technology. Commissioner Holland is in Florida and Commissioner Waldham is in Puerto Rico. And Commissioner Ludwig is out sick today. I know that's been going around everywhere, and so just wanted to note that he is excused. With that, we will rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, we will do public forum. Is there anybody from the public? Anybody online? Okay. We will move on. Is there any additions or revisions to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dave Menke, County Administrator, we have one addition. If we could add consent agenda item number 9C, the hiring of the Planning and Zoning Office Manager. And then we have some additional information for regular agenda item number 1, the Personnel Committee report, the job descriptions for the Deputy Sheriff Trainee and the Grant and Programs Coordinator. And then additional information for regular agenda item number 5, a red line copy of the tentative agreement with the corrections officers and dispatchers.
All right, with that, can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right.
Steve seconds.
Okay. All right, so we got a motion from Nelson, seconded by Holland. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, Deb, can you call the roll?
Chair Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldham,
Not hearing you, JJ.
Commissioner Waldham? Oh, it looks,
All right, can we? Yep.
Mr. Chair, the statute does require that commissioners be seen and heard.
Okay.
And so the intention has been conveyed. I don't know if there's something wrong with, obviously there's something wrong with the audio.
Okay, well, we will. Should we just move on?
how do I,
If a member can't participate with audio and video, they're not participating in the meeting. And so if we proceed, it would be without. the
Yes.
benefit of-
Oh, there we go.
there he is.
Thank you. We got you. All right, perfect.
Commissioner Holland,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, so we will move on to approve the minutes of the January 7th, 2025 organization and regular county board meeting and summary for publication.
I'll move that. Holland.
All right,
Second.
we got a motion by Holland, second by Nelson. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none. Deb, can you call the roll?
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldham,
Yes.
Commissioner Holland,
Yes.
Chair Moore,
Aye.
thank you.
All right, and it looks like there is no minutes for the board's committees and correspondence. So we'll move on to the consent agenda with the addition. Entertain a motion for that.
Holland will move.
All right, we got Holland for motion,
Second. Second.
Second, we'll take JJ's. Second by Waldham. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? All right, hearing none. Deb, can you call the roll?
Commissioner Waldhelm,
Yes.
Commissioner Holland,
Yes.
Chair Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Nelson.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the regular agenda and start with the Personnel Committee, and I will do it. The Personnel Committee met January 13th and made the following recommendations. In the Sheriff Office, approved the job description and authorization to recruit a deputy sheriff trainee position. The purpose is a non-union grade 8 in accordance with the Springstead Class and Compensation Safe System. The minimum starting wage is $26.9 an hour. If approved, the position would only be filled if there is a deputy sheriff vacancy. Maybe I'm just gonna go with this one so we can have a little discussion on it. I'm gonna make a motion on that. And then, because I'm guessing there's gonna be a little discussion, I'd just like to fill in a little bit with that. So I'll move that. If I can get a second.
I'll second so we can have a discussion.
Okay, so with this, the sheriff's department came to us and said they have a candidate, and they've had candidates in the past that are either going through the classes to get post-certified or going to college or the stuff they got to do to become a licensed deputy. And they would like to just get them in the organization and start working with them on seeing if they like the office and just kind of get them tied in ahead of time. This will give that opportunity that they can start working for the sheriff's department. Obviously, they can't be on their own. They're not a licensed deputy, but this would only be if we have a vacancy in a deputy position. With this, there's going to be a timeline that they have to complete their schooling. So this isn't a permanent position. And once they're hired on as a deputy, this would go away. And if we don't have a vacancy in a deputy position, we wouldn't hire this position. But there are a lot of things in the sheriff's department that they can do for them, and the grade isn't the same as a deputy and the pay. So instead of having a deputy do it when we're shorthanded, this just makes a lot of sense. So there are any other questions with it? Scott's here. He kind of pitched it to us, but I think that was a little overview. Did you have anything to add?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I would only add that with the challenge of recruiting law enforcement officers that we've seen in the last several years, it's become more common for agencies to have this type of a trainee program. So if they find someone who is in school, they can, in essence, lock them in prior to graduation, because most folks who are graduating in law enforcement have jobs before they graduate.
Does anybody got any other questions on that? Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, is this do they have to then, if there's an opening, they complete their schooling, do they have to then give Pine County X amount of years of work before they would seek other employment, or 2 years, or is there any strings
No.
attached?
There is no strings attached other than they would be essentially guaranteed a job.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I would not use the word essentially guaranteed.
Okay,
They could apply for this position, they could be hired as a trainee, and if they didn't meet the standards or if conditions changed such that the sheriff didn't think they were a good hire, or if there was a staffing level change or something, it's not a guarantee of a regular deputy position.
Okay.
But it certainly is an opportunity to expand the pool a little bit to draw in quality candidates.
And a follow-up to that is how long is this, if they have 6 months left of training, or if they just started training, or they got a month left, or they're just is there any sense of that?
Mr. Chair,
Yep, go ahead.
there's a limit of 2 years that they must complete their training within 2 years.
Okay,
And one thing to add to that, there is a lot of department training, that once you onboard a new deputy that they have to do, that takes essentially months, correct? I mean, to get 16 weeks, that they can complete all that training ahead of time, so they are essentially road ready. Close to road ready, or maybe they are, but, once they're get their license, so. Commissioner Nelson had a question.
So if we approve this and this new position, would, as long as there's somebody in this position, would the existing vacancy stay vacant the whole time? So we wouldn't at some point say, well, we need to fill this vacancy because we've got to, and what happens if we have 2 trainees, or example, 2 openings? Could we have opt for 2 trainees? Just a question.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
go ahead.
I think there's a lot of flexibility built in that the sheriff could make a determination, say that they hired a person to fill the trainee position and then there was another vacancy. I think the sheriff at that time would have to make a decision as to whether they wanted to try to recruit a licensed deputy so they could step in and be fully licensed, or if they felt comfortable having another trainee. And Chief Grice, I don't know if you have any insight into how the sheriff might manage that.
So we would probably try this at one person at a time, trying to train them in to see how they're gonna work with our department, if they like the department, if they're doing a good job. And as I said before, 16 weeks is a general training for a deputy. We can actually get some of this training, maybe half of this training done with the deputy prior to them getting licensed. So we're actually training them at a cheaper cost doing it this way. Not only will 100% of their time could be used during training purposes, but also for jobs that we have within the office that normally a deputy does. We can also have a deputy trainee do, like sometimes a civil process or something with evidence, or if we have to bring our drugs to, say, Alexandria to get that disposed of, where normally we would have an officer go send over there and do that. We could have somebody do that for a cheaper cost too. So the amount of things that we're able to do as an agency is quite a lot, not only trainee, but also do some jobs within the sheriff's office that he could do on his own as well. And then that also gives us time to evaluate him, see how he's doing, if he's progressing. Is this something we want to continue to invest in, or do we want to maybe look at something else too?
Chair, that'd be my follow-up question is, with this training program, do you have the ability to say, from our end, we don't feel that this is working out, so that you can end that immediately?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and that's one thing we did talk about. This will be a no net gain on employees, and they can modify it and change it, the sheriff's office. If it's like, this isn't a good idea, whatever. But it was kind of one of these things that was brought up, and Commissioner Ludwig had said a lot when he went to school way back when departments were coming in and trying to hire kids or people, deputies right out of school. And this is a chance that maybe the sheriff's department here can get involved with somebody early and, try to get them in the department and not flat out hire them as a deputy, and see how they like the department and both like the department. So that's what we were kind of thinking, or that's, I think, what the intention is there.
Yeah, law enforcement times have changed to where what Commissioner Ludwig has said, where before you had a big pool of people to choose from, you don't have that anymore. And this is a way to try to combat that with recruiting of good officers to come to your agency.
Yeah. Okay, does anybody else got any questions? Yeah, Commissioner Walden?
A question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, are they,
they'll be carrying their service weapon, they'll be carrying a gun.
No.
They will not be carrying a gun. They won't be carrying a gun until they are post certified. So they will have handcuffs, they'll have a taser and so forth. They will be riding with, during the training portion of it, they will be riding with officers. So they will have the ability to, if an officer is in trouble, they'll be able to help if somebody's resisting or whatnot. They'll still go through our taser program, they'll go through our use of force program and so forth, but they will not be at the point where they're to carry a firearm until they're post certified. Licensed
What other
officer.
counties are doing this?
Carlton County
What-
is going through that process right now. Chisago, I believe, is as well.
In a lot of the big departments.
But yeah, the big departments are too. And a lot of the bigger departments kind of goes under the same type of concept. They call them community service officers.
Mr. Chair, that's what my next question was gonna be is I know big cities have, or even medium-sized cities have community service officers. And kind of
We're just
seems like,
we're just labeling it, we're just giving it a different name is what we're doing.
yeah, I get it.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on this? And we have a motion and a second, so, or you got one more?
I guess my only comment would be, I think it's worthy of exploring this and investigating, going this route, as long as we're not adding additional staff. I mean, that would be a big concern of mine. That's a bigger discussion that we need to have, but I'm certainly willing to give this a try.
Yeah, and that was one of the big discussions we had was it was a no net gain on employee count. And we were we talked about maybe having a review of it, through personnel after a little bit of time or whatever. So, and the sheriff's department's really good, obviously. All the departments is if we need to make some modifications or changes or cut it or whatever, then we'll address that through there. So. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Otherwise, I'll call the roll. Okay. You want to call the roll, Deb?
Commissioner Holland,
Yes,
Chair Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldham,
I oppose.
Great. Moving on, Health and Human Services, we're still in the Personnel Committee report to B now. So Health and Human Services acknowledge the resignation of social worker Andrea Anderson effective January 24th, 2025, and approve the backfill of the position, any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. Also on Health and Human Services, acknowledge the resignation of social worker Angela Ripley effective January 17th, 2025, and approve the backfill of the position, any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. I am gonna keep moving on. Most of these are just vacancies. Sheriff's Office Corrections, acknowledge the separation of probation corrections officer Robin McFeeters effective January 1st, 2025. Approve the backfill of the position, any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. Acknowledge the resignation of probationary corrections officer Casey Cusera effective December 31st, 2024, and approve the backfill of the position, any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. Also, acknowledge the resignation, part-time corrections officer Connor Johnson effective January 6th, 2025, and approve the backfill of the position, any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. Moving on, in the Sheriff's Department, dispatch, acknowledge the resignation of part-time dispatcher Andrea Booker effective December 27th, 2024, and approve the backfill of the position, any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. And approve the grant programs coordinator. This is an auditor treasurer, sorry. Approve the grant programs coordinator job description and authorize recruitment for the position. The cost of the position will be split between Health and Human Services and general funds. With that, on them, I will move that. And looking for a second.
Mr. Chair, I'll second it, Commissioner Holland.
Okay, with that, is there any discussion? I know there's a lot of stuff on here. A few of these were people just took a better position somewhere else. Some of these were, needed. And, I think the sheriff's office took a big hit again. But we did just hire, what was it, 6? Yeah, okay, I'm looking at Jackie. 6 new corrections officers again, so it is, we had a net gain there. So it's not looking as bad. I mean, when I first seen this, I was like, oh my. And then, by the time we got done, it was like I think that day they were onboarding 6 new, corrections officers so, yeah. Otherwise, does anybody else have any questions? Yeah, go ahead. Nick.
Chair, item E.
Yep.
Is that a new position?
That is.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, members of the board, it's a redesignation of an existing position. So we had an accounting technician in HHS that has been vacant for over a year. And the need is to have someone help with the grant coordination. And so the position is proposed to be redesignated as a grant coordinator and grant and programs coordinator. And rather than being fully funded out of the Health and Human Services Fund, it would be equally funded out of the Health and Human Services Fund and the general fund. And in the 2025 budget, there was actually a shift of levy capacity from Health and Human Services to the general fund. So it was not a net impact on the levy for the general fund.
So the old position will go away.
And this was, we had a lot of discussion in the budget, the 2025 budget about this. So that was kind of our change with that. So. Any other questions, comments? Okay, hearing none. Deb, can you call the roll?
Commissioner Holland,
Yes.
Chair Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldham,
I oppose.
All right, so moving on to number 2, recognize Minnesota Social Services Administration award winners, Pat Meekum and Lisa Stoffel. Okay, go ahead, Becky.
It's nice to be up here. It's an exciting day. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Becky Foss. I'm the Director of Pine County Health and Human Services. And with me today are a few HHS staff as we celebrate a few state award winners. I specifically am going to highlight MSSA Outstanding Supervisor of the Year, Pat Meacham. Want to come on up, Pat? Pat has been a supervisor with Pine County for almost 7 years now. In the last 7 years, it's just been an honor and pleasure to see him grow professionally and do some outstanding work with his team. Pat not only has a passion for the work and for serving the community, but he is committed to creating and maintaining a high-performing and high-quality, can-do, positive work environment, which is just delightful. While Pat expects great things from his staff members and those around him, it just goes well beyond that. He authentically, genuinely cares about his staff members and colleagues. Yes, he absolutely wants staff members to do great work, and he also does not let them lose sight of the bigger picture. We encourage staff to not only focus on their work life, but their life outside of work. He encourages his team members to grow professionally and encourages them to seek opportunities for growth and advancement, even if that's not with their own agency. But it's just a rare find, and that's a gem to have that within the team here. This is indicative of how much he cares about the well-being and future of his staff. Pat, you are very deserving of this award. I am very proud of you, and so are your colleagues. Thank you for all your work and all you bring to the organization. We are lucky to have you. Barb is going to come up and highlight Lisa Stoffel.
you can come up this way. Good morning. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members of the board. My name is Barb Schmidt, for those of you who have met me or just met me today. I supervise quite a number of things: mental health, adult protection, and veteran services. I'm lucky enough to be that. And Lisa is up here. She is maybe a little bit shy to receive this award, but there is really no one that is more deserving than Lisa. I've had the pleasure of being able to supervise Lisa for the last, it's almost been 9 years. So Lisa, what I think I want to highlight is that these candidates not only won the regional award, but now they moved on to the state award. So they went through the process of being honored regionally through the Minnesota Social Services Association, and the candidates have been honored and chosen at the state level. So it's quite an accomplishment. And so Lisa is being honored for excellence in direct service. She is our community services technician, and she goes out and works with individuals with mental illness in their home. And she also runs a drop-in center. That drop-in center is open once a week on Tuesdays, where individuals who are living with mental illness can come and be greeted by Lisa's warm face and go engage in social activities. And there's some educational components. It's not only fun, but Lisa has had speakers come in and she organizes all of that. And I just have a few things that Lisa has done and I want to thank her for. Lisa took a group to Mental Health Day on the Hill last year at the state capitol. She sat down with our legislators who actually in a room where those who are living with mental illness could speak. I think most of them were there. And so they got an opportunity to speak about barriers for those living with mental health. So she organized that, drove them down. It was amazing. Each year, for the last couple of years, Lisa has organized a mental health awareness event. During May is mental health awareness. She had a NAMI speaker come in. She had the crisis speaker come in. It's over the top. She feeds people. She's kind to people. One of the things, a little thing about Lisa is she's a phenomenal cook. So we love having her in our unit because she cooks for us. And I keep telling her, stop cooking for us because you don't have to, but she does. It's her love language. Okay. I've learned this. So, in fact, I went to the drop-in center one day and she had food sitting out. And I said to her, "You don't pay for food?" She had paid for it out of her own pocket. She had made it and she had brought it because she truly cares about those that she's serving. It's amazing. Last year, the drop-in center made mental health baskets that they dropped off at some of the local churches. They dropped off at the hospitals for someone that might be suffering. They're going to do it again this year. I hear you ordered the supplies. She took them on a fishing trip last year. They had cooking classes, budgeting classes. They had NAMI presentations. I was lucky enough to be in the mindful presentation. So I was happy about that. And so then Lisa is amazing enough to come into your home and she will help you with budgeting and getting an appointment, scheduling an appointment, a cooking goal or whatever. But one of the things that is so amazing about Lisa is that when I sit and I get to be her supervisor, I hear the people that we see, that we serve, talk to me about how amazing and how impactful she has been on their lives. So she has the biggest heart, and I can't imagine this award going to anybody more deserving than Lisa. I'm so excited for her. I know she's a little embarrassed to be up here, but we can't thank her enough. And really, you're just an asset to the community. And I love to be your supervisor. So thank you, Lisa. Thank you, member.
Well, thank you guys. And again, you guys in your whole department have such a tough job. and we really appreciate it. To see an award like this, it really does mean a lot. It means a lot to me as a commissioner, because we appreciate it. So thank you again.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I could please just
Yeah.
add to your accolades there, we're just very lucky to have Patrick and Lisa working for us, and really the winners are the clients that they serve in Pine County. We're very, very fortunate to have them. So thanks, Patrick and Lisa. We appreciate what you do.
All right, moving on to number 3, Joint Drainage Authority Judicial Ditch number 6. This had came up, there's some stuff that needs to go on with this. Mark ain't here, is he? Maybe,
He's online.
is he? You want to explain it, Mark, or do you just want me to read what it says here?
What we're looking at is we'll probably have a resolution at the next meeting, but we'd like Josh to be available to this joint powers group if we're not able to get that resolution to the next meeting. Basically, half the city of Bram drains through this ditch up to Trunk Highway 70, and then it turns into Hay Creek and into the Snake River. And Isanti County has managed it kind of somewhat in the past, but they're looking to formalize the ditch with an authority that would be Isanti County, Kanabec County, and Pine County. And we would have one representative on that, and they would have the ability to assess for this ditch like we do with the other ditches. So.
Okay. And we do need action, right?
Yeah, Mr. Chair and members of the board. So listening to Mark, it sounds like there'll be a formal resolution in the future to make the appointment. So if there was a consensus that Commissioner Moore was the best situated and you were interested in doing that, perhaps the board could just designate him as the representative for Pine County until there is a formal resolution.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody oppose that?
Are you interested?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and it is in my district on the south west side there, so yeah. Sounds good. All right, with
Want
that,
to make that as a motion?
oh, okay, yeah,
Designate.
yeah, I'll move it.
I'll second it gladly.
You sure you don't want it? Steve?
I don't want it.
All right, so hearing that, does anybody have any other questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, Deb, can you call the roll?
Commissioner Holland,
Yes.
Chair Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldam,
Yes.
All right, so moving on to number 4, Northern Counties Land Use Coordinating Board Membership. Dave, did you want to pick this?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Commissioner Nelson had brought this up last time. I did a little bit of research, and it sounds like something that there's no cost for the first year, and the first meeting of the group or the next meeting of the group would be at the AMC Legislative Conference. And so if you were interested in, trying it out for a year, it seems you could make that decision today and then revisit it probably towards the end of the year if you wanted to continue on and become a dues paying member. And my understanding is that dues are $2,000 per year, except for St. Louis County, which is $3,000 per year.
I will just add, it's kind of nice when some of these boards allow you to join the first year just to see, because we've done this in the last few years. Tried some, and then after the first year, it's like, yeah, this wasn't what I thought or whatever, but it does give a decent opportunity to check it out. Maybe it's something that we're very interested in, and maybe it's not. So it'll give us an opportunity to get into it and try see what happens. So,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
I was just going to ask if Commissioner Nelson was interested in being our representative to bring information back.
Sure. I was especially intrigued with the, yeah, they're a land use. And you look at the list of land uses that are priorities or discussion points. Not all of those are applicable to Pine County. Sometimes we're ahead of the curve and maybe we can help contribute. But there are some of those other things as far as, that are on that list that I think are really applicable to Pine County. And it's like, what are other counties doing in this area?
Right.
Because they have a lot of tax forfeited land as well up in these areas. And I mean, that's an issue that we're wrestling with. So yes, I'm interested.
Okay.
Do
Sounds
we
good.
need a motion?
I believe so, right? Or,
I think that would be appropriate, the motion to join for 1 year on a trial basis and then to appoint Commissioner Nelson. And then you could also consider an alternate just in case there's an event that he can't make.
okay. So Holland, you made the motion
Yep.
I
I'll
know,
second.
okay. And I know Waldham, you're always usually interested in some land use stuff. Would you want to be an alternate on this?
Yeah, I would, Mr. Chair.
Okay, that sounds good. So we have a motion, Holland, seconded by Waldham for Nelson, to be the, I don't know what's the word I'm looking. Representative, sorry, and Waldham to be the alternate. Okay, hearing that, is there any other discussion? Okay, go ahead, Deb, and call the roll.
Chair Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldham,
Yes.
Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. Thanks, guys. Moving on, number 5, 2025 and 26 labor agreement with corrections officers and dispatchers.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, this was discussed in detail at the last meeting, pending approval by the union. The union did vote in favor of it, and so it's at your, I guess, question now if you want to approve it.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve this labor agreement.
I'll second it.
With that, I'd like a little discussion. Like we did, I think all of us were in the meeting. We talked about this. We had a couple negotiations. It did go to mediation. It was come out of there with an agreement. It went back to them. The one unfortunate thing I will say is I was a little disappointed in voter turnout on this. It tended to, it was a very, I mean, we had to go to mediation on this and I think, was it around a quarter of them showed up to vote or?
Yeah, I don't know that we got a formal official count, but our sense is that the membership turnout was pretty low on the contract, which I'm not sure how to read that, right? If there was a sense that everyone supported it and it was just, not everyone needed to vote, or if there was anything behind it. But I think the important fact is they approved it. It's basically the agreement that, it is the agreement that we reached in mediation and discussed last time. And so I guess if there are any specific questions, I can certainly try to answer them.
Yeah, then we're just comment I wanted to make. Is there anybody else that had any comments or questions? Otherwise, go ahead, Devin, call the vote.
Commissioner Nelson,
Aye.
Commissioner Waldham,
Yes.
Commissioner Holland,
Yes.
Chair Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to Commissioner updates, Soil and Water Conservation District.
Did not attend.
Okay, Kettle River, Upper St. Croix, one watershed, one plan. Is that Matt? I think.
That's Matt.
Yeah, okay. Law Library, I believe we didn't have one, did we? Or did we? I think we covered that last time. I think we got mixed up. So, I think what I'm gonna try to do, Deb, is have Bonnie keep you in loop on the emails. Cause they kind of been changing off and on, so
Okay.
I'll reach out to her and have her just add you to our list as information or whatever. So then you can see if the meeting changes or whatever. Chemical Health Coalition.
I did attend that. Again, it was a good first meeting. I did have a question, maybe Attorney Peterson could answer this. So it's just maybe a overall, so is the purpose, one of the general purposes of the committee is to distribute the opioid settlement funds? Am I correct in that?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. So basically, we act as an advisory capacity to those settlement funds. So those are tasked with through public health. And then so public health will come to us and say, okay, these are the ideas, and kind of use us as a springboard on some of the ideas, how to spend those. The settlement agreement on those opioid funds, there's a specific list of what we have to stay within and what we can spend them on. So, I mean, we can't just throw them into the general fund or something like that, but it has to be on certain programming. And a lot of our focus has been on the youth because we have schools involved in the coalition and such.
So my last question would be, so how, because I know this settlement goes on for a number of years, what kind of funds are we talking about on a per year basis?
The settlement funds, Commissioner?
Settlement funds.
Money person.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I can answer that a little bit. So it varies because some of the settlements, so I think there's 10 different settlements we're involved with. And so some of them are for differing amounts of years. And some of them they had to pay upfront, like years 1 through 4 and things. I think when it's all said and done for these kind of near years, we're going to be at about 100,000 per year.
Thank you.
With the possibility of it going up, right? There's new ones coming online all the time.
Always new ones as long as there's not a lot of bankruptcies.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's the key. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Anything else on that? Okay, moving on. Central Minnesota Jobs and Training. Is that Matt? Maybe? No, who was that?
Is that Commissioner Waldham?
I believe so.
Yeah, my calendar, nothing was put on my calendar.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll work through that
Right.
and get her changed out or whatever. So,
Yeah, it must still be getting sent to who was the previous person, I would imagine, if it didn't get updated since we made our committee assignments after our first meeting.
okay. Sounds good. We will, we'll work on that. Meeting with Representative Nelson. I did make it late. I had something else going on, but I got there. Representative Nelson is always very good. He's very, he knows a lot about what we got going on with like SSIS and some of the changes we want to make. And of course, this was before the session started, so I think everything maybe got blown out of the water when that kind of started, and whatever they got going on down there. Very disappointing, I will say, and hopefully they decide they want to try to get something done for the state of Minnesota. But that's my 2 cents. Dave, do you want to add anything?
Just maybe emphasize that he is, I think, in a position to continue to push the Health and Human Services modernization piece, which has been important for us. And then also we talked about the casino sales tax. And in 2019, Senator Rarick had authored a bill that did not make any progress. But I think we've heard both from Representative Nelson and Dotseth that they would be willing to work on that bill. The proposal would increase the share that the county gets and decrease the share that the state gets. It would not impact the amount that the tribe gets.
All right. Anybody got any questions on that? Okay, moving on. Greater Minnesota Parks and Trails.
I went to that it was mostly it was before the session started, so it was a lot of the platform of that group, which really is to ensure that Greater Minnesota Regional Park Systems and Trails gets its share of the legacy funds, and they don't all go to the big counties who have a lot of money to hire lobbyists. So what we would like to see is out of the legacy that there be a 20% set aside for the Greater Minnesota regional trail system. These aren't the DNR trails that go for miles and miles. These are the trails that we have in East Central Minnesota that go from point A to point B within a county or multiple counties. Or within a city in some cases.
All right, perfect. Sounds good. East Central Solid Waste, I think that's you too, Steve.
Yep, we had a meeting, you know, the saga of building that cell continues. It will continue in the next summer because the weather got really, really wet right before freeze up, and they couldn't get the complete liner down. I think I've spoke of this before. So they didn't get the liner covered. So they're going to have to wait till spring to see how that come through the winter, how the clay underneath the liner handled the freeze thaw cycle. Because if it's got garbage on it, of course, it's not going to freeze. So anyway, it'll work. It'll work one way or the other.
Sounds good. One thing I wanted to just add is I don't remember even what the meeting was. Well, maybe it was with Representative Nelson and he was talking about solid waste. Was it that? Did we get into that? I'm sorry, but I should have maybe made some notes, but I've heard, or maybe whatever. Anyways, the buzz is a lot of people are talking about these incinerators, which you kind of hinted at. And it seems like that's kind of the way to go, but I don't know how feasible it is. So yeah,
if we were, and I have brought that up to our board, now is the time to really do the research because we've got about 6 or 7 years and it'll take that long to transition to something else besides digging another hole. So, you know, I did ask about having a tour for the Pine County Board, and I think if we wait till it thaws, and they'd love to have us over there.
Perfect. Sounds good. Well, thank you. East Central Development Partnership. I don't remember. Anybody go to that here?
That's the old GPS 4593.
Look it on there.
Yeah. Okay. East Central Regional Library Trust Board.
I was on the board, but I was gone.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So
Sounds Good. Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, State of the Band. I went, this is my first time I ever went. They got a new chief executive. It was very interesting. I did learn a lot. It seemed like everybody was pretty excited over there. And he gave, what was it, a 2-hour long speech? It was pretty good, but he touched on a lot of stuff and he knew he was ruffling a little feathers, but he continued. So, and I thought it was very good. They had a very good meal. I know Dave Reese and Matt was there as well. So I don't know if you guys got anything to add.
Mr. Chair, I would just add that he did highlight that 2025 is the year of the child for the band. So they are wanting to put a focus on children and the services and such for that. And then there was also discussion about the reservation in Aiken County, which came as a surprise to the folks from Aiken County, that the band, I think similar to Mille Lacs County, is going to look at definitively establishing the reservation boundary is it Big Sandy Lake in Aiken County? And then he also talked, and Josh, this is maybe where you were talking about the ruffling the feathers. He talked about the importance of the band businesses employing band members, and he did share some statistics that I thought were quite surprising at the low percentage of employees who are band members at both their government and their corporate ventures.
Yep. And he highlighted on qualified, they have to be qualified. And I think that's where I think some people, there was a couple of yells from the crowd when he said that. But I think that's what he was getting at there. So and the focus, like he said, gaming has been down. So that isn't the focus of it is, but it's not their main focus anymore. But the investments that have been made since gaming came on board that hopefully will continue to make them financially successful. So yeah, it was good. So, and there was quite a few, there was two other counties there, Aiken, I know Mille Lacs was there. And there was a lot of other people there, so it was good. All right.
Thanks for going, folks that went. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Arrowhead Counties Association. I think Matt usually goes to that. He's not here. I would just like to add that Arrowhead Counties is available to any of us. It doesn't have to be just Matt. I think more than one can go, right?
Yes.
So if any of you guys are interested, I know I was at one a long time ago. And they are very interesting. They got some pretty good lobbyists there that talk a lot about stuff. So I would urge if any of you guys want to go up there, or maybe I will too. So,
and Mr. Chair, just always remember that if you do have more than a quorum, that we do have to think about how to navigate the open meeting law.
Yeah.
So you certainly can attend, but you wouldn't want to get more than a quorum without notice.
okay. So that is something, if you guys, if any of you guys are interested in going, maybe we'll just communicate with Dave just to make sure, so that we don't have more than three or more. Moving on, the commissioner training, I attended, the chair, vice chair, and administrator training. It was a 2-hour online. AMC is putting it on, very, very good information. And I think they said they had 70 participants on it. So it was pretty good there. AMC is really obviously great. Their training is very organized. They stay on. They said it was going to be done by noon, and it was done by noon. They started on time. It is going to continue tomorrow. We're meeting in person, in conjunction with the new commissioner, the government 101 training. We'll be together a little bit down there, and then it'll conclude next week. But I already me and Dave talked quite a bit afterwards about some stuff that you guys might see before the board, as far as maybe a few policies that I'd like to get before the board and see what you guys think of them. And just some other ideas kind of going forward. So it's always good to get into them and hear what other people are doing, and some things that can help us navigate and be more successful board. Did you want to add anything, or?
No, that was pretty comprehensive.
Okay. Arrowhead Transit.
We met the other day, very good meeting, had actually a very good representation from the county. And Arrowhead, is our public transit system. And I keep advocating for expanding it out as much as we can. Obviously, they've only got so much money, so Like they keep telling me, it's like we got $100 bill. So if we got to spend money over here, we got to not spend it over there. So, we are moving forward with plans to do a dial-a-ride in Sandstone. Hopefully they can roll that out this summer, and that'll be good for those folks.
All right, well, thank you. Is there anything under any other meetings anybody attended they want to talk about? Okay,
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Not meetings, I'm sorry, if you have an other for number 7.
no, yeah, go ahead.
The governor has released his budget. We've gotten a brief or superficial analysis by AMC. But it appears that the governor's direction is not so much to directly cut county funding, because we know from the forecast that the state is going to have some, maybe deficits in the future, but rather to do cost shifts. So there's some significant cost shifts proposed in his budget that would impact human services. And so we'll learn more about those in the next week or so, I would guess, as folks have a chance to go through his budget. But that just appears to be the strategy, that it's not funding cuts.
Is that cost shifts from things the state has traditionally paid for and now the county has
Yes.
to?
Yep, so waivered services as an example, that looks like that could be, I don't know if I have the estimated number. Oh, yes, I do. 82 million of cost shifts in the first year for counties collectively, not just Pine County, but that's a real number, right? 82 million across the state. And then the cost share for folks at MSOP is looking at about 40%, which I think translates to about $40 million. I don't know if that's the year of the biennium. And then competency restoration is about an $8 million a year hit. So you start to add those up, and that's north of $100 million per year cost shift to the county. So that's real money. So just as you're, thinking of watching the legislature and thinking about what our priorities might be, that's where we're going to have to probably have the engagement.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, otherwise, take a peek at your upcoming meetings, and there's a few of them on there. Otherwise, with that, I'll have the meeting adjourned.